What if I told you that gluten-free is not always healthier, and sometimes it can even backfire? According to guidelines from the American College of Gastroenterology, gluten-free is a medical treatment for some people, not a universal wellness upgrade. In this video, we will test the claim with evidence, not hype. Stay to the end for a practical bonus one day gluten-free menu that actually supports fiber, vitamins, and your budget. Disclaimer: this video is educational content only, not medical advice. Always talk to your licensed clinician for personal guidance. Now, let us start with what gluten really is and why so many people are confused. Gluten is a family of proteins in wheat, barley, and rye. According to the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, gluten gives dough its stretch and bread its chew, and for most people, it is safe. The American College of Gastroenterology explains that health effects depend more on your actual diagnosis and on the overall quality of your diet. The American Heart Association reminds us that whole grains, many of which contain gluten, are linked to better heart health. To make smart choices, we must first know who truly needs to avoid gluten for medical reasons. Celiac disease is an autoimmune disorder where gluten damages the small intestine. According to an American College of Gastroenterology guideline in the American Journal of Gastroenterology, the only treatment is a strict lifelong gluten-free diet. Wheat allergy is different. The American Academy of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology explains it is an IgE-mediated allergy, and avoiding wheat prevents reactions like hives or trouble breathing. Some conditions such as dermatitis herpetiformis and gluten ataxia also improve only with strict gluten-free, as noted by the British Society of Gastroenterology. Next, let us see how doctors confirm these conditions so people do not self-diagnose. For celiac disease, clinicians start with antibody blood tests such as anti-tissue transglutaminase while the person is still eating gluten. Then they confirm with a small bowel biopsy to look for villus damage, according to the American College of Gastroenterology guideline. Human leukocyte antigen typing helps rule out celiac when the key genes are absent, as described by the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases. For suspected wheat allergy, allergists use skin prick testing, specific IgE blood tests, and sometimes a supervised oral food challenge, as explained by the American Academy of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology. If you value science-based health content, please subscribe now and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next myth-busting video. Next, what about people who say, "I feel better without gluten," but they test negative for celiac and wheat allergy? Non-celiac gluten sensitivity is a diagnosis of exclusion. According to randomized controlled trials in Gastroenterology Journal, many people who think gluten is the problem do not react to gluten when the testing is blinded. A crossover trial in Gastroenterology Journal showed that purified fructans, which are fermentable FODMAP fibers found in wheat, triggered more bloating than gluten itself. Monash University, which developed the low FODMAP diet, also reports strong placebo and nocebo effects in gut symptom studies. So, in many cases, it is not the gluten protein, it is the fermentable carbohydrates. That leads us to a smarter plan for people with irritable bowel syndrome. The American College of Gastroenterology guideline recommends a dietitian-guided low FODMAP trial for irritable bowel syndrome with a careful reintroduction phase to find personal triggers. The National Institute for Health and Care Excellence also supports a staged reintroduction to protect diet variety and long-term nutrition. The American Gastroenterological Association notes that gluten-free alone has mixed results in irritable bowel syndrome when celiac is not present. Translation: target the right carbohydrates first. After symptoms calm, reintroduce to the maximum variety you tolerate. Next, let us examine the nutrition profile of common gluten-free packaged products. A review in Clinical Nutrition Journal found that many gluten-free breads, crackers, and pastries rely on refined starches such as rice, tapioca, and potato, which tend to be lower in fiber and lower in protein. A review in Frontiers in Pediatrics Journal reports gaps in folate, iron, and other B vitamins because wheat flour is often fortified while gluten-free flours are not consistently fortified. The American Heart Association reminds us that fiber and whole foods are key for heart and gut health. This means a healthy gluten-free diet must be built on whole foods, not just on gluten-free labels. Next up, blood sugar, fullness, and cravings. Because many gluten-free bases are refined starches, they can spike blood sugar faster than whole wheat. The American Diabetes Association explains that higher fiber lowers glucose spikes and helps you feel full longer. The United States Dietary Guidelines recommend making half your grains whole to improve satiety and nutrition. If you need to be gluten-free, choose naturally gluten-free whole foods like certified gluten-free oats, quinoa, buckwheat, beans, vegetables, fruits, nuts, and seeds. Now, before we talk about weight, let us ask a bigger question. Are gluten-containing whole grains actually linked to better health? According to a large analysis in the British Medical Journal, people who eat more whole grains have lower risk of cardiovascular disease and lower risk of early death. The American Heart Association recommends most of your grains be whole because of fiber, minerals, and plant compounds that protect the heart. The World Health Organization also supports increasing whole grain intake for public health. If you remove gluten without replacing whole grain fiber, you may lose these benefits. So what does the evidence say about type 2 diabetes and heart risk when people eat less gluten? A long-term cohort analysis in Diabetologia journal found that people with the highest gluten intake had a lower risk of type 2 diabetes, largely because they also ate more cereal fiber from whole grains. A study in the British Medical Journal reported no heart benefit from low-gluten diets in non-celiac adults after accounting for whole grain intake. The lesson is simple. Health effects depend on what replaces gluten. Replace with vegetables, legumes, and gluten-free whole grains, and you can gain. Replace with refined starches and sugar, and you can lose. Next, let us look at the gut microbiome. Clinical gastroenterology and hepatology. Journal reports that when people remove wheat, rye, and barley without adding other fibers, beneficial bacteria such as bifidobacteria can decrease, and short-chain fatty acid production can fall. Frontiers in microbiology. Journal explains that grain fibers such as arabinoxalins and fructans feed good microbes and help the gut lining. Dietitians often suggest certified gluten-free oats, buckwheat, quinoa, teff, sorghum, legumes, fruits, and vegetables to restore fiber variety. This keeps your gut garden fed even on a gluten-free plan. Now, what about athletes who believe gluten-free boosts performance? A randomized double-blind trial in Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise journal tested competitive cyclists on gluten-free versus gluten-containing diets and found no difference in time trial performance, gut symptoms, or inflammation when the athletes did not have celiac disease. Monash University suggests that timing a lower FODMAP intake around training can help sensitive guts more than removing gluten itself. The American College of Sports Medicine emphasizes adequate carbohydrate, hydration, and recovery nutrients for best results. If this kind of clear, practical science helps you, please subscribe now and share this video with a training partner. Next, let us talk about kids. Children with celiac disease thrive on strict gluten-free when meals are nutrient-dense, according to the American College of Gastroenterology guideline. Frontiers in Pediatrics journal warns that a pattern heavy in gluten-free ultra-processed snacks can be low in fiber, iron, and folate. So families should center meals on potatoes, beans, eggs, dairy, fruits, vegetables, and gluten-free whole grains like quinoa and buckwheat. Pediatric dietitians recommend regular growth checks and nutrition reviews to fill any gaps early. Next, what if you are pregnant and thinking about gluten-free without a diagnosis? Digestive diseases and sciences. Journal reports that in women without celiac disease, gluten avoidance did not improve obstetric outcomes, but nutrition quality still matters a lot. The World Health Organization and obstetric groups emphasize folate, iron, and iodine sufficiency, which often come from fortified grains or targeted supplements. If you choose gluten-free during pregnancy, work with your obstetrician and a dietitian to keep folate, iron, and fiber on track using legumes, leafy greens, and fortified gluten-free options. Next, let us tackle autoimmune thyroid disease and other autoimmune conditions. A review presented in the Endocrine Abstracts journal from the Endocrine Society concluded that a gluten-free diet is not routinely beneficial for Hashimoto thyroiditis when celiac disease is absent. The American College of Gastroenterology advises screening for celiac disease in autoimmune patients who have gut symptoms and treating celiac strictly if found. For inflammation and heart health, the American Heart Association supports Mediterranean-style patterns that can include whole grains or gluten-free whole grains if needed. Now, if you must be gluten-free, how do you stay safe in daily life? The American College of Gastroenterology guidelines stresses strict control of cross-contact. That means separate toasters, clean cutting boards, careful condiments, and asking about shared fryers when you eat out. The European Society for Pediatric Gastroenterology, Hepatology, and Nutrition explains that most people with celiac can use certified gluten-free oats, but they should introduce them gradually and monitor symptoms. Learn label language. Barley malt, conventional soy sauce, and some flavorings can hide gluten. Next, there is another practical issue for many gluten-free eaters: rice and arsenic. An analysis in Epidemiology Journal using United States survey data found that people on gluten-free diets had higher urinary arsenic and higher blood mercury, likely from heavy use of rice-based products. The United States Food and Drug Administration and the Environmental Protection Agency advise limiting rice-based infant cereals and rotating grains to reduce exposure. Practical fixes include rinsing rice well, cooking it in extra water and draining it, and rotating with millet, quinoa, buckwheat, corn, potatoes, and beans. Now, let us talk about the cost of eating gluten-free and how to save money. Frontiers in Pediatrics Journal notes that gluten-free specialty products can cost approximately 30% more than regular products. The United States Dietary Guidelines and the American Heart Association suggest building plates from naturally gluten-free basics like legumes, eggs, seasonal produce, potatoes, corn tortillas, and bulk gluten-free grains. Batch cooking, reading fortification labels, and choosing store brands can cut costs while improving nutrition. With that in mind, here is your practical bonus: one-day plan that keeps fiber high, costs reasonable, and tastes great. Breakfast is certified gluten-free oats, cooked with chia, berries, and peanut butter, which the American Heart Association links to better heart health through fiber and healthy fats. Lunch is a quinoa and lentil bowl with mixed vegetables, olive oil, and lemon, a combo the American Diabetes Association highlights for steady energy and fullness. Dinner is corn tortillas with black beans, grilled chicken, salsa, and avocado, plus a large salad, which Monash University notes can be low in FODMAPs for sensitive guts. Snack is yogurt with ground flax and fruit. Hydrate well, season simply, and enjoy. Now, let us wrap up with clear takeaways. According to the British Medical Journal and the American Heart Association, gluten-free is not automatically healthier. It is essential for celiac disease and wheat allergy, but for most people, overall diet quality and whole food choices drive health. According to Gastroenterology Journal and Diabetologia Journal, the benefits many people feel come from managing fermentable carbohydrates and eating more whole grain fiber, not from removing gluten alone. If you choose gluten-free, build it from naturally gluten-free whole foods, diversify fibers, mind fortification, and watch your budget. Disclaimer: this video is educational content only and not medical advice. For personal care, consult a licensed professional. If you learned something today, please subscribe and comment the next health myth you want us to investigate.